Is somebody going to tell me when our mics are live, or are they already? Okay, hello. I am Terra Omen, and welcome to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. We have a race tonight between BreanaFoFanna and Moo Mooney. Um, Joining me today in the booth is Who Dat, and looks like we're about to get started right now. Um, First, want to go ahead and give a shout out to our restream team. We have Ashirin setting up the restream today, and Ceiling Cat doing the very difficult job of tracking that I could absolutely never handle. Um, Hudat, what do you think about the race that we got set up tonight?
Hey, good evening. Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty exciting race. They're pretty standard flags, so this is going to be kind of you know, a battle of the ability to play the game kind of as most people play it in Worlds Collide. And it looks like we have a Shadow and Saban start, so those are two exciting characters to start off with. Looks like there's going to be a lot of fairly easy upfront checks, and we'll look to see if anybody does any kind of gambling with something like the Floating Continent.
Yes, I noticed Shadow did have the health ability, and that can actually be pretty handy sometimes because there's, a lot of seeds where you don't find a lot of healing spells on your espers. So that might help, at least in the early game, for keeping them alive.
It looks like we have health and control, so it'll be interesting to see how quickly people end up dumping the control character there. That's usually considered to be the worst, if not one of the worst abilities in the game. So, not excited to see that for sure.
Yeah. Now we have Brianna is doing a fairly standard Narsh loot, and I did see a Genji glove popped up in the treasure room, and it looks like a flame shield available to stay on the armor shop, so that could be very handy if anybody comes back for that later.
Yeah, it looks like Moo is doing the Returner's hideout. That's usually what I do first. That's kind of an older meta to start there. But there's a lot of good loot there, especially when you don't get chancellored by the people there. So, and
Yes, South Figaro, the Returner hideout, Narsh usually are some of the most popular starting areas.
yeah, that's usually what I do. I usually do a Returners to Narsh to South Figaro, but didn't see anything exciting for the shop there at the Returner's hideout. Like some wall rings in Narsh.
And for everybody watching at home, we have a pretty standard flag set tonight: 7 characters, 10 espers. There are no dragons required. Pretty standard flag set with elemental scaling and um, standard type of boss shuffle. Nothing too surprising. So we will be able to find not just the elemental shields, but rods in shops. So they're probably going to be keeping a lookout for those. That's definitely an item that most racers really try to get their hands on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Rods are the big one, shields, and then I've never been big into purchasing super balls. I don't know how you feel about that, but to me, the damage is usually not worth it. If I'm buying super balls, it's a rough seed.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would look at that as a backup. That was the Katana Soul. Um, that might be a little bit tough to handle right now, but that's your offering if you can take that fight.
yeah, you're offering in quite a bit of money, so I'm sure Brianna's going to keep that one in her back pocket for when she gets a little bit more power.
Yeah, if you can get there with a bio spell, Katana Soul is susceptible to poison.
Looks like Brianna's doing her time at Returners while Moo is going through the mansion at South Figaro.
Yeah, heading down under here is also a pretty popular check. Some people might put this off sometimes until they find Celeste because you walk right past the cell where Celeste's check is. But it doesn't take too long to come back and get that if you happen to locate Celeste later on.
Ooh, experience egg for Moo Mooney. That's exciting. That's good to see early because we're on a progress ×2. That's going to be really helpful.
I just saw a rage ring on Mumuna's side as well. I believe that is one of the items that absorbs fire. So that tends to be a good find if you're trying to set up Merton strats.
Yeah, plus an ice shield. Wow, this is some pretty hot loot they have here.
And Mumuni did pick up the Shiva Magicite, but I didn't catch if he checked what actual spells were on it.
Yeah, I did not see either, but yeah, South Figaro basement looks like it's going to be the hotness right now. Atma weapon. Now that's if you get super late game and you have a lot of levels, that can be good, but I would sell that bad boy really quick.
Yeah, it can be useful if you find anything that boosts your hit points, because it does get a bonus based on your hit points. So it has to pair pretty well with like a red cap or a muscle belt. But most people do tend to sell it.
Life 2, Fire 3, Magic Power +2. Wow, this seed is really nice so far. There's going to be a hook somewhere.
And it still looks like we're focused on looting and shopping. There's always that question at the beginning of a seed of how much looting do you decide to do before you start doing checks? Because there's that balance between, on the one hand, you want to get plenty of good equipment, but on the other hand, you don't want to spend so much time on it that you start falling behind on checks. And a lot of times that can depend on what you find, when you feel comfortable saying, I've got enough equipment, I'm ready to get into the meat of this seed.
Yeah, I think that's, it's going to be so dependent, number one, on the abilities your characters have, and number two, what you find. This, with health, that's really nice, but with capture, that's not that great of an ability. Oh, there's an Illumina for sale in World of Ruin, South Figaro. Yeah, so now I'm looting until I can buy that.
Yeah, and with the Genji glove, I saw BreanaFoFanna that I didn't catch whether Mu has it, but Genji glove and Illumina can be a very, very good combo. It looks like Mu is selling everything he has to try to afford one.
See if he can get there. I'm kind of waiting to see if he hovers over Experience Egg for a second to see if he wants to sell that. There you go, Elixir. I always sell my Elixirs early in the game.
So he is going to be well set for whatever battles he gets into. I imagine if Brianna checks that shop, she will be doing everything she can to afford one as well. And I really expect once he has more money, Mu will probably be going back there for at least one more.
Yeah, so now the question to me is, I would kind of tend, if I was Mu, I would go do some checks. I might even go do Floating Continent because it's early. You have the Illumina, which gives you a little bit of power. There are forced battles, and if they're not too bad, this might be a good time to do it. But what's your take on stuff like Floating Continent? Do you like to do that early or wait a little bit?
I would be inclined to wait a little bit just because it is a pretty big time commitment and you have a lot more really fast checks. Like you see, he's here doing Collapsing House. You can get in and out of the Collapsing House in 30 seconds if you don't open any of the trap chests. And combine that with having a Sabin start. Sabin opens up a bunch of checks that are really close together. You've got the Imperial Base, the Phantom Train, and the Barren Falls that are all right next to each other, and you can optimize your routing a bit by hitting them back to back. You cut down on a bit of your airship travel time, and so I would be inclined to get some of those quicker checks out of the way, be much more likely to get more characters, more espers, and be better set up for diving into a longer, potentially more difficult check, especially with there's 4 bosses between the airship and the continent itself.
Yes, I believe so. And it looks like if I saw correctly, that Brianna found the guy in the woods selling an Esper for 700 something GP.
Yeah, hopefully Moo checks that because he checked the price in the World of Ruin and it was somewhere around 40,000. I see Brianna also just found some poison rods in the weapon shop there, bought a stack of those. They might actually be effective if she decides to go back for that katana soul.
That's true. That might be what she's thinking about. Because you don't normally people don't purchase a whole lot of poison rods, and we in chat saying it's interesting and poison is underrated. Yeah, bio especially. Bio does have its uses in a few cases, and it can be really great. It can get you out of a pickle sometimes, but
Yeah, there's
it's
not
situational.
too many bosses that are really weak against it. Funbaba is one. The Katana Soul is another. There's not too many more, but when you run into one of those niche situations, having the tools to handle it could really give you an edge.
It looks like Mood decided to just go ahead and pay up the 13 grand. That's not a bad price. It's not the extreme savings he could have had, but that's understandable just to go ahead and pick it up at 14.
Yeah.
Brianna going to Miranda, kind of a rare place to go. Not a whole lot of reason to go there in the randomizer, but always nice to see.
Yeah, it looks like she was being pretty thorough about checking her shops.
Yeah, definitely. And in this case, I'm always on the lookout for warp stones that she's buying now and dried meat, just in case we get Gal. That dried meat can be tricky to find when you're in a hurry, and the only check you have left is the Velt. Seems like it never shows up then.
And she might still be looking out for a better selection of elemental rods as well. I haven't noticed yet if any fire ice or thunder rods have shown up anywhere.
I haven't seen, but now I think Brianna has 2 cat hoods at this point, so that's really nice.
Yeah, I believe they do, what is it, 50% damage from all elements?
I'm not sure. The only thing I know for sure that the cat hood does is it allows you to collect all of the dropped money, which I think just means double the amount that you normally get. So that'll be really, really nice when she goes back and fight Katana Soul.
Yeah, and with Illuminas for sale, you want as much money as you can get.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the old Final Fantasy VI meme is there aren't really any great hats, so I see cat hood, I'm putting it on, and yeah, okay, cat hood doubles GP and has a few elements.
One thing I'm curious about, I've never tested this, is whether multiple cat hoods increases that multiplier.
The gold, I don't believe it does. Yeah, I know. As a kid, I always thought that because I never bothered to check as you do when you're a kid. I always thought multiple experience eggs stacked, so I would always just walk around with both experience eggs on one character, just wasting time.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you learn about these games as you get more experience. You see some Dragoon boots in, I believe that's the Thamasa relic shop. That might be a good option considering we don't really have any offense right now.
Yeah, how do you feel about jumpers? I like them. There are certain members of our community I will not name that really get into them. I think it's good, but to me it's situational and it can be quite time consuming and
Well, I would be inclined if you don't have, like the Genji glove, a jumper with an Illumina can be handy because that Pearl proc can happen on a jump.
it looks like nothing too great on Seraphim, but
It is another source of healing, though. Um, I haven't seen if there was any like good healing spells. I did see, I think it was Life 2 on one of the Espers, but you really need a Cure 2 or a Cure 3 to keep up with some of the tougher battles. And we have Mumuni already checking out the auction house. That's a lot earlier than most people do, but he has found a magicite on his very first check there, so that's just pretty good luck.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an early check and great luck. I think I've gotten the imp 7 times in a row whenever I do this. I have
Oh boy.
horrible luck at the Arsenals.
Meanwhile, Brianna is taking a couple of battles, most likely trying to get a few levels before she starts trying to tackle some bosses. Possibly wanting to learn some spells from those espers.
Yeah, and there's the flip side of the poison rod strategies that some people like Crawler love it.
We still haven't seen any character checks yet, though Blue Mooney does already have 4 pieces of Magicite, which is pretty good for only being 14 minutes into the seed.
Yeah, that absolutely is. And I didn't see, did he check to see if there was a second Esper at the auction house?
I believe he just grabbed the one and then ran out. I didn't see if he talked to the guy at the door to find out whether there was a second one.
It looks like Mooney might be doing a little bit of grinding here.
Yeah, it can be a good idea, especially with um, scaling based on progress. Getting some early levels while the bosses are still going to be much lower level than you can help you kind of breeze through these early checks. And we see Brianna's heading over towards the Imperial base, and I would not be surprised to see her tag team this with Phantom Train and Barren Falls while she's in the area.
Yeah, definitely a quick way to get 3 checks done back to back to back. And it's nice with the Phantom Train, of course, is that you can go and check it, see if it's something that you want. If not, you can bail. And I think really at this point you take darn near anything except maybe like a Magus Rod at the train. We'll see what she does.
Though if you already have access to Illumina's, I probably wouldn't be too worried about finding any other shops anywhere, or finding any weapons in the back of that train, unless it's something like fixed dice.
Oh, Moo is finding a great fight there. Retainer and Dark Force, that's scary. I would probably be trying to bail at this point.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, the retainers are the ones that do the trade-off attack, where they kill you when you kill them.
Yeah, and then you get that roulette, and yeah, Retainer is a good rage, but at what cost?
Brianna's going up against some crawlers. They're a little bit of a rough enemy to fight sometimes because they have reflect up automatically, if I recall, and they have pretty good physical defense. So if you don't have a lot of good defense ignoring attacks, they can take a little time to whittle down their hit points.
Yeah, what is the boxed sets? Those always get me. They have reflect on naturally, and I always end up trying to bolt free them because they look metal and learning valuable lessons over and over again that I soon forget.
Yeah, but she's definitely getting through them. It's not a tough fight, but when you're still this low level, it's just a little bit slow. And Mooney looks like he is still hitting some battles, and it looks like he is moving between different terrains. Might be wanting to learn all the different dances if, in case he encounters somebody later on that has the dance ability, because this flag set does have the everyone learns set to true, so it doesn't matter whether that dancing character has been found yet, you can still collect those dances in case you find them later.
Yep, he definitely did park at a spot there with some desert, some regular grass and wood. So a good way to just in case you get a dancer.
And Brianna got a Genji armor from the Imperial base, the highest defense in the game, though since it doesn't give elemental resistances, there are some better options sometimes.
Yeah, not too bad. Not you're not too disappointed to see that. It's a relatively quick check. So looks like she's going to try to do it and falls down. Might not be aware that you get a story heal in this case if she's going to use potions, but
Yeah, that's another one of those little things that you have to start memorizing that you probably never realized playing casually.
yeah, it's not immediately obvious. I'm usually at that point so upset that Shadow stole all my gear that I'm not paying attention to that kind of thing.
Oh, I strip his equipment before I go in there. Every time he's about to leave the party.
Slow learner here. Like, oh, that's right. He leaves here.
Now, she did not check the Phantom train on the way down. She might be wanting to get this check out of the way first because it is much quicker, and then possibly going to check Phantom train after she's finished here. And she has Hyden. He can be a bit of a rude boss when you're low level, but having those fire rods will definitely make a difference.
Yeah, I think the fire rods are going to be huge, and he's pretty low level, so I think he's at level, what, 6 at this point, something like that, so maybe he won't be too bad.
Yeah, when she did over 2,000 damage with the fire rod, I'll probably only take a few of those. And it looks like Mooney has gotten enough levels to be satisfied with his characters and is heading into the Imperial base as well. And Brianna already got through that hide-in here. So we'll see who we have at the bottom of the falls here. It would be nice to get a character at this point just to open up some more options.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ceiling Cat bringing up a good point. Yep, Shadow's a survivor, and you don't typically survive all that much by jumping down random waterfalls.
Yeah, he may be the smartest member of the party.
Madowin, nice. Let's see if Brianna checks that one.
And that'll be if Mooney follows down there and gets it, the 5th piece of Magicite we've gotten already at only 21 minutes in. So this might turn into a scene that is a character hunt if this trend continues.
Yeah, I'm getting the poison blurry screen there on Mooney's screen. Hopefully, he takes care of that pretty soon.
And Brianna is picking up her Shiva at Gal's father's house. Still curious whether she's planning on going back to that Phantom train or not.
Yeah, we're kind of running out of the quick checks now for additional characters. So
It looks like she's hitting Floating Continent, though.
there you go.
This is definitely a time-consuming check because you have to get through some battles up here on the airship, followed by a boss battle, getting thrown off the airship, having another boss battle, and then 2 more on the Floating Continent itself. But you do get 3 checks out of that. So it's slow but rewarding.
Yeah, I typically like to do it fairly early, just because if you need one Magicite and the only thing that you have left is floating continent, it's just emotionally draining. I guess it's so hard to make the decision to do it when you get later on. So earlier on it lets you grind up a little bit. It's a lot of checks, but I understand why people don't really like to do it.
And there is always the option to jump back down to the airship at the midpoint.
Yeah, and sometimes these enemies in the sky can be really, really bad. I want to say one time I did this, the enemies were all double Doom Dragons, which was unpleasant. But Inuo, while maybe not the cutest enemy in the world, is not very threatening.
And we see Mumuni has gotten through that hide-and fight. It looked like he just beat it down with that Illumina. So Shadow's definitely doing some work with that. Mumuni will pick up their 5th piece of Magicite. And then we'll get to see whether they fade the Phantom Train as well, or decide to go check that out.
Yeah, I've got to imagine that Moo is feeling pretty good here. Not even 25 minutes in, and you've got 5 pieces of Magicite already. That's not bad.
Yeah, I just need a few more people to equip them on. But we shouldn't be worrying too much about offensive options, even though we didn't get any really good abilities. We got Murton, I just saw there, Flare, Bio, Fire 3. We got all the offensive spells we really need.
Yep, and we got looks like Cure 2 there, so that would really put my mind at ease. Now you're just hoping for some kind of calmness mitigation for the end of the game, but you got plenty of time for that. Oh, Tentacles for Breana. This is not a good fight early and with 2 people.
Yeah, the Fire Rod can be pretty effective, though. You do have to worry about each of the tentacles has different elemental weaknesses and resistances. And I never remember which one is which.
Yeah, it looks like she's got it down. The one in the front there is going to be the one that absorbs fire. The one that is already dead is the one that you can instant death, I believe. And I want to say the one that's on the top right is lightning. The other one's ice, but you're wrong with that. But it doesn't really matter.
And meanwhile, Mumuni is heading up to Mount Colts. Gonna check some of these out-of-the-way treasure chests here. These are checks that a lot of people tend to skip because if you run straight to the back and go straight for the boss, you can get through this in just a couple minutes. But while there are a decent number of treasure chests here, they are kind of out of the way.
Yeah, you can do this really quick. And Mount Colts is one of those things that for some reason people tend to not like to do, and it's not really that bad, but maybe bad memories of the vanilla game with getting poisoned constantly while walking around in a circle. I don't know.
And you can see he's already about to hit the boss and took, I think, less than 2 minutes, so it is a good quick check. I imagine he is hoping to find a character here. And Breana hitting the really rude part of the tentacle fight when one of your characters gets grabbed. And that's a spicy chicken.
Yeah, let's see. I'm not sure. I think Moo can probably do this. It's might be a little bit dicey, but
Yeah, he does have Flare and that Illumina, so he's definitely got some damage options, but even with scaling the statues, because they start off with such high hit points, even scaled down, they tend to be pretty beefy. And on Breana's side, looks like we have a flying train.
yep, unfortunately no suplex even with saving here, so.
Yeah, but looks like just one fire rod took it down real quick. And we have a Strago on the floating
All
con.
right, now we have a seed.
And I did notice in the Discord chat earlier before we started, Mumuni actually said to Breana, May Strago be far away from you. And it looks like he jinxed her.
Well, what did we just learn there? That whenever you trash talk Strago, you wipe Poltergeist. So
Oh,
that'd be a lesson
that,
to everybody.
that is rough, yes. We'll have to see if he decides to redo his setup and try this again. It looks like he is looking at his relics there, probably trying to uh, work out a better strategy for handling that chicken.
Yeah, looks like he's gonna give it another shot. So I think he's got all the right tools. It's just gonna be the minutia of the execution and getting everything just lined up perfectly.
Yeah. And we have
Looks like Brianna's
Strago. We have Strago with the throw command. So I did notice there were some skeins in a few areas, and if Strago having a decent magic power, the skeins can be, decent for clearing some early game location.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm always happy to see throw. I know Strago does not have the best vigor, so maybe not the best combination, but he will be able to do good with some magic he's going to get there, since it looks like it could be a fairly magic heavy damage seed.
Though the downside with its Strago is that I don't think anybody really likes the burning house check because it is pretty tough to get past all the little flames in there. They can be another good potential location to grind up some levels if you find manageable enemies there. But it is a bit of a time investment when you know that you're gonna have at least a few of those encounters that you probably won't be able to dodge.
Yeah, I'm told that it's possible to dodge them all. I have never done it. I've never seen it done, but I'm curious, chat. How do you all feel about the burning house? What's the consensus there?
I'm sensing a little bit of sarcasm from Ficta here, calling it the greatest in history. Worlds Collide checks. And Brianna is almost through the floating continent, about to hit the Atma weapon spot in just a minute. So we'll find out what kind of boss is there. Now that is a spot that cannot be a character check, but she might find another character at the end of the floating continent when you jump off.
Yep, looks like Piranha. Okay, well, that's going to be time consuming, but probably not too difficult. Piranha can get a little bit nasty way late in the game when its hit can do thousands of damage, but early on in the game shouldn't be a problem. But looks like Moose having fun with Poltergeist again, took down Savin.
Yeah, he did spend a bit of time reworking his equipment setup, so hopefully he, will be able to get through it this time.
Yeah, and his chat saying Piranha is an excellent time to go get a root beer or some other beverage of your choice.
Yeah, there's a timer involved. This is another one of those didn't realize it when you were a kid things, that the piranha will not appear until a certain length of time has passed. And I believe the length of time can be randomized in Worlds Collide.
Yeah, I believe it's 30 to 90 seconds for us here. And when you're feeling way behind, it's always 90 seconds.
Yep. But she's gotten through that fight already, so we'll be able to see in the moment what the reward is.
Okay. not great.
I mean, you were saying earlier there's not a lot of good hats. Red Cap is a decent one. It does give you a 25% boost to your max hit points, so it's yeah, not as exciting as a piece of Magicite might have been, but I wouldn't complain too much about finding one.
Well, especially as far as hats go, it's pretty good. And if she can get something like a Valiant Knife, that's going to be really nice. Yeah, I would bail on this fight really quick. Hey, Moo takes down Poltergeist. Good job, Moo.
Yeah. Looks like that extra planning made a big difference. That's the case with a lot of bosses sometimes is, when you don't know what you're about to run into, you can have a hard time, but once you've seen what it is, you can, retreat, come up with a new plan. And you got a dragon horn, and we did see dragoon boots, so that right there could be a very nice combination.
Yeah, that can give you a lot of power there, especially with that aluminum.
Yeah,
Looks like
jump.
the
I think
fights on the floating continent there are not very nice, though.
yeah, if you have that dragoon boots, dragon horn, and Illumina, you get between 2 to 4 jumps, and any one of them could have that pearl proc. Meanwhile, Breana has found the number 128 up here on the floating continent. Fire spells should burn through that pretty quickly. He does absorb ice, but fire will do just fine.
Yep, and she's already got him.
So we'll see in a moment what kind of character check, or hopefully a character at the end here.
Who thought of 128? Ficta, you get 128 because when they made 129, it was too powerful. It broke the game, so you'd be happy that you only got 128, okay?
And we have just Kappa with the check, and he gives them a Ramu Magicite. Looks like that is Brianna's 4th Magicite, but something like the 6th that we've seen overall in the seed. So still trying to find out where those rest of these characters hiding.
Brianna might have stumbled upon it. Yeah, it could be Strago or it could be Kefka and Arsh, and depending on who you are, I don't know which one is worse. Where does Kefka and Arsh fall in the check hierarchy for you?
I think that really depends on what kind of party setup you have. When you look at like Mumuni's side, where he still has only 2 characters, you would end up only being able to take one of them up to the boss, and that's never fun. So if you've got at least 3 characters and they've got some decent abilities, it can be doable. There's also the possibility, if you're looking for a grind, you can dodge all the Imperial soldiers there, but sometimes if you find battles that have really nice experience or gold, you might want to go ahead and take a couple of those battles deliberately. And Zelfa Naku pointing out in chat, if you have both Mog and Terra, that's the best time to go there. So you can do the Lone Wolf check and the Welk check while you're there, so you don't have to double dip or even triple dip Narsh.
Oh, an Arsh triple dip would be amazing. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, though. Looks like we're going over some bigger ground now. Brianna's fighting Spicy Chicken, and Moo's going to take on Tentacles. We'll see. Brianna maybe has an easier time with this.
Yeah, I think it looks like she might have a few more levels on her characters thanks to the forced battles going through the floating continent check. So between that and having an extra character on her side, she might do a little bit better and hopefully avoid taking away.
Yeah, when you have all three characters, Narsh is really nice, but oh, to have to go in and double dip, even triple dip, is just brutal.
And especially since you can't even use a warp stone out of World of Balance, Lars. You can only use one in the World of Ruin.
Yeah, that would be a nice quality of life add, honestly. If you could warp off the top of that, that would be really nice. I don't know. From what I've understood about the way Final Fantasy VI works internally, that could be, like writing a whole new video game, but it would be nice.
Oh, and looks like Mooney is actually having a little bit of trouble with the Ghost Train there. Ghost Train is one of those bosses that is either really, really easy or a complete pain, because we see he got the muddle effect off on Shadow, and that just turns this into a terrible fight. But actually worked out in his favor when Shadow broke out that Murton. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of luck when you have a character muddled.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, Merton, especially, he just happened to have the ability to nullify fire. That could have been super dangerous.
Yes, indeed.
But move finding Strago. Again, probably not the greatest to pick up, but you're happy to see a character at this point, I gotta think.
And Breana has gone through that spicy chicken fight and immediately put that dragon horn on her Sabin. She already had him jumping the whole time, so she's probably very happy to find that.
Yeah, Dragonhorn and Aura Lance from one check. That's Jumper's Delight, and maybe that's not a coincidence because Boo is the one that put this Coliseum event together, so maybe he put a little bit of extra magic into it.
So we have to see where Bree decides to go next. She is heading over to the World of Ruin. And it looks like the cave on the Veldt. This is another pretty quick one. There is a very short walk if you don't go out of your way to pick up some of the chests, and you can head back and actually, I believe, get a peek at who is lying on the ground before you actually have to do the fight.
Yep. Oh, it looks like she's going to fight the monster in a box here. Not sure exactly what she's looking for, since she knows where the offering is. Could be looking for Gigantos,
or possibly just wanting to get a little bit of quick experience, though the Lobo fight isn't going to give you much.
Yeah, Pugs could be looking for those Minervas.
That would be very nice if anybody can equip them. Yes, we do have the equipment flags are original plus random, so you know that a Terror or a Celeste will still be able to equip those because they can do so naturally. A little bit up in the air, who else can? And we did see there's a piece of Magicite being guarded by Interceptor there. So that'll put her up to 5 total.
Let's see what she ends up having to fight for this thing. Doom. There we go. Well, we've got a couple statues out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, you don't necessarily want to fight them without having a little bit more power, but you're definitely glad to get them out of the way.
Yeah, and with Fire 3, this is not going to be too bad for her.
Yeah, you do need to be careful because he will put up a Reflect partway through the fight, but with Sabin jumping with the Dragon Horn, I think she'll be able to manage pretty well. And Moon has gotten through the Piranha and Rizo boss fight. Which has got the Doom's aura is shaking message, so I believe that is when he throws up the Reflect and starts nullifying elements with that force field spell.
Yep, and that's a good one to nullify because she has Fire Rod, so.
Yeah, Fire Rod's being able to bypass Reflect is one of the advantages, in addition to the higher damage output because they do roll max damage. Fortunately, that Reflected Fire 3 hit Strago for 0 damage because he had, I'm not sure what he's equipped with, but he's got something that protected him from that fire.
I believe he has an Ice Shield.
Yeah, and Doom goes down pretty quick with those Fire Rods and Sabin with that Dragon Horn.
Yeah, that's why you like to see those rods be available for sale. It can really pull you out of these weird situations where you fight something that is only weak to one thing. You run into something like Tritok, you're really gonna want Fire Rods for that in a lot of cases if you don't have the spells.
And Brianna has picked up the Raiden Esper, which can actually be handled against some of the stages of the final battle with Kefka, because there are some of those pieces that are vulnerable to that. And also found a tax star in the little hidden chest there, which with Strago having the throw ability, that could dish out a decent chunk of damage.
Yeah, I always like to pick up some Shuriken or some throwables or whatever, just in case I get someone with throw, especially now. That's really nice when you don't have anything else for them to do. All right, so just while we have a second here, take a second to plug our Coliseum event. So we have a link there so you can follow along with the competition, but basically it's kind of like a NCAA basketball bracket. We have the top 32 people who were put into an open challenge, were put into a bracket, and now we're doing bracketed battles. This is one of them. But if someone here loses, that doesn't mean that they're out. They're going to go into the returners bracket, and you can win your way back into the main bracket by winning the returners bracket.
And we do see Brianna went ahead for that burning house check, and looks like she's just trying to run away from these battles in order to push her way through as quick as possible.
Yeah, level 30 magic, that's not what you want to see.
And now Moo is also heading down to the Cave on the Belt, and that should be his 7th piece of Magistite with still only 3 characters. So I imagine he's probably starting to feel some frustration at the, limited number of paths available on this seed.
Yeah, this could end up being somewhat bottlenecked here. Hopefully Brianna can find there's a character at the end of this, and we don't end up with a situation where there's only one character to get, and it's something like Kefka and Narsh, but we will see.
And then the question is going to be with Moo Mooney whether he would rather do Burning House or Kefka at Narsh, because they're both a bit of a tedious check.
Yeah, I didn't see... Oh, Magi Master. Oh, no.
And this right here is why you don't always want to hit the Burning House, because when you get slowed down, getting hit with all those battles on the way, you do not want to see a boss like this at the end.
No, there is no save point, so if she takes a wipe or a reset, she's going to be back outside.
And I believe it doesn't look like she has any of those flare spells that Mumuni has. Uh, I don't think she picked up all the same espers that he did. And if you don't have non-elemental spells, you might run into problems with the wall change.
Yeah, and she doesn't have a whole big bunch of stuff to throw at him either.
Well, if you're gonna throw anything, now would be the time to do it.
Yeah, I was about to say Zelfer before I got stunned by this Magimaster here. I didn't see if anybody has peeked Fanatic's Tower. You can do that whenever. Never really a great thing to check. I think that's probably my least favorite check, just because you have to walk up and down all those stairs.
And getting up there and only being able to use magic can sometimes be a problem, though. There is a good amount of magic power on this seed thanks to how many espers we found. So it's not as rude as it could be if you were running a party that was more dependent on physical attacks. Looks like Mooney has gotten through the Doom fight without any real trouble, so he'll be picking up his 7th piece of Magicite. We'll have to see whether he decides to follow Breana into the burning house, or perhaps go check that Kefka at Narsh.
All right, Breana takes down Magimaster. That's Magimaster is one of those things. To me, no matter how powerful I am, I always wince a little bit whenever I see him. So well done by Breana.
Definitely, it is one of the toughest bosses in the game, and getting there with the right kind of gear, the right kind of spells can make all the difference.
Oh, and it's Cyan. She's got to be happy to see that.
Yeah, he has a very fast check at Doma Castle. You just walk in and immediately fight the boss. And while the Doma Dream sequence is a little bit on the slow side, it is a check that gives you 3 total checks along the way.
I used to really hate Doma Dream, but it's really grown on me because it's, like I said, it's 3 for 2. It's not that bad. The only little bit of a problem would be memorizing the solution to the switch puzzle, but it's not that bad. Once you get that down, it's a pretty good check.
And Mumuni has landed in front of the Fanatic's Tower, and this might be interesting. And we have just a Kappa there, and he nopes out.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. So.
Yeah, when he only needs 3 more pieces of Magicite, this is probably a good play.
So we have a question in chat. What are the flag sets for the bracket? So each round is going to have a different flag set. So everybody in this first round is playing with the same flag set, but every battle seed is different. So you can't watch somebody else play and know where to go. But for this one, it's pretty standard. It's 7 characters, 10 espers, as you can see. Progress times 2, no normalize and distort, and rods, super balls, element, shields are for sale. So it's a pretty, I'll say, relative standard to the traditional Worlds Collide flag set. Nothing too crazy in here. Nothing that's going to really throw anybody for a loop, I would think.
And now Mumuni has decided to head to the burning house, so he will be picking up his Cyan, and Breana is opting to go into the dream sequence. And I would say this is a good call when you need. She still needs 5 more pieces of Magicite and 3 more characters, so the density of checks here would be a pretty good option.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and Ultros. So we've got a lot of the nasty bosses out of the way. So.
Yeah, I always like seeing, even though you don't want to see something like that Magimaster, I would rather see it here than see it in Kefka's Tower.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Breana got through that Ultros fight with, I think, with just like one Fire 3, and she found the Ragnarok Magicite.
So, Securium, yeah, you weren't following the channel. Yeah, everybody, please, if you like what you're seeing here, definitely give this channel a follow. And we got some links in there. Follow our racers, Brianna, Mooney, both relatively new to Worlds Collide, but playing a lot. Obviously doing really well. Got into this competition, and looks like we got a good one going on here. Also, you can follow our restream team. Don't follow me. I don't actually stream. I just have I have an account so that I don't have to get on the Twitch landing page and watch whatever video autoplays that our Twitch TV doesn't stop autoplaying, even though it says it will. But everyone else actually does stuff, so you should definitely follow everybody here except me.
Definitely want to give some love to our restream team because they have the really hard jobs. We have a Sheeran and Ceiling Cat behind the scenes. I would not want the jobs that they have. We just have to, sit up here and ramble on, but they have to do some real work.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially tracking. I cannot. I can barely keep track of myself when I play with an auto tracker, much less watching other people play.
And Naku just said he followed you just despite you.
Aw, thank you, Naku. Enjoy all the great content.
And we have a Setzer showing up in the dream sequence. That is a really good choice because he has some really fast checks. You can just immediately go to the Coliseum Inn, free check right there sitting at the bar. And then he can also access the Doom Gauge check. All you got to do is hop on the airship, go to the steering wheel, search the skies, and immediately find that boss. So that should open up quite a few options.
Looks like Moo just took down Magimaster and is going to get him a Cyan. Yeah, Setzer, I didn't really love Setzer in the vanilla game, but in Worlds Collide, he's really nice. Like you say, the checks are pretty good. I used to hate Daryl's Tomb so much, but it's not that bad with a Moogle Charm. And again, if you know where to go and how to do the little puzzle, it's a pretty quick check.
Yeah, I think you can get to the boss in just maybe 2, maybe 3 minutes if you know where to go, which switches to hit in the right order. And Brianna's found the Cranes fight. This should be another one that shouldn't be too tough, as long as you can remember which one is you should hit with fire and which one you should hit with lightning.
Yep, and I will make my old man joke and say Sherry Niles for anybody who gets that. It's from a television show from the 90s. Ask your grandparents about it.
Trains are down. So she'll pick up not only that Setzer, but then once you get back out of the dream, there will be something sitting on the throne for you.
Yep, and it looks like lore and natural magic on Setzer. So that's one thing that's nice in, I think, version 0.9, which we're playing 0.9.1, I believe. But it will tell you now who gets natural magic. So they will learn magic as Terra and Celeste did in the vanilla game. At certain levels, they will learn randomized spells. So that's always really nice to see.
It looks like Mumuni has decided to do the Mount Zozo check. This is another one of Cyan's quick checks. It's another one of those areas that has some kind of like out-of-the-way treasure chests. But if you just skip past them, you can get through pretty quick. And Brianna picked up a Pearl Lance from the Doma throne.
Yeah, that's a pretty good item. But as we're closing in on the hour mark, I would start to be a little bit worried. And wow, she's going to check what may be the least checked chest in the game, but Ice Shield, pretty nice out there at the outside chest at Doma Castle.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever checked that since I used to play vanilla.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen anyone check that on a restream, but I could be wrong. Ice Shield, never a bad thing, and for that 15-second time investment, that's not bad.
Yeah, especially when you do have that Merton spell, so you want to make sure you can protect all your characters. Though there's still, I believe, the Flame Shield. I don't remember where, but the Flame Shield was for sale somewhere.
Mooney finds Go-Go. How do you feel about Go-Go? I love Go-Go. A lot of people really don't. I like the position player ability, but I understand that he can't learn magic on his own. He can't take advantage of the Esper
I,
bonuses, but I like it.
I say it tends to depend on what kind of abilities you get. There was a seed, I think it was Wednesday night, where there was, you know, Go-Go mimicking Bum Rush and just dishing out massive damage by being able to do two back-to-back Bum Rushes. Um, if you don't have, you know, good abilities for him to mimic, then he tends to have less value. He does have another pretty quick check up at the Zone Eater if you can avoid those little green guys that like to knock you off the bridge.
I cannot avoid them, nor can I avoid the crushing ceiling.
Meanwhile, Brianna, I believe, just picked up an Umaro at the Coliseum Inn, so she is closing in on the number of characters she needs for the seed. And if Mumuni follows in the same path and takes this Setzer and immediately picks up Umaro, that will be his 7th character.
Yeah, so same question to you about Umaro. How do you feel? I'm not a huge fan. I don't like not being in control of what's happening, but I understand, especially early in the game, he can get you through a lot of tough spots.
He can be really good in the Coliseum because one of the problems in the Coliseum, when you can't control any of your characters, they'll start casting some completely useless spells. Since he can't do anything but fight, he can get through those battles a little bit more efficiently. I'm not inclined usually to keep him in my party for too long beyond that.
Yeah, I usually leave him in the airship for Kefka's Tower, steering the airship, listening to some Credence, just chilling up there.
Now, it does incentivize a Narsh check in the World of Ruin because there is the Tritox spot up there where you can find a piece of Magicite. And again, like we were talking before about Kefka at Narsh, getting up to the Tritox spot in the World of Ruin is a bit of a hike. But if you can do that on your way to the Umaro cave, it can make it a little bit more valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we've had anybody walk up to see what could be behind Umaro. It may not matter in this case, but
Yeah, nobody's gone anywhere near that Kefka at Narsh, which still leaves that question hanging in the air of whether they're going to be gated by anything there. But since we've seen um, between both runners enough characters to meet the 7 character requirement, um, I don't know if we're going to see anybody bother to go up there.
yeah, you don't want to see anybody do the horrible checks, but at the same time, streamer tears are the lifeblood of Twitch. So
Yeah. And I believe Brianna has still not gone to the auction house. So if she gets to the point that she's just hunting for espers, she might decide to head there.
I don't know if she's going to find her pugs tonight.
And we have Mog sleeping in the tomb today. And again, that brings back up that question of Kefka at Narsh, because if you have Mog and you can go do that Lone Wolf check, it does incentivize heading up there. At the very least, I would see a good argument for heading up there and at least peeking what is at Kefka at Narsh, because whatever character, or if it's an imp or a merchant, they will be standing there at the snowfield, so you know what you're going to get, at least whether it's a character or not, before you do the battle.
Yeah, Mog definitely sweetens that up. I'm not a huge Mog fan, but like Brianna's taking down the creator of Worlds Collide, Atma. Notice he has 6 arms and legs. That's how he can do so much coding so quickly and get this up and running so fast.
Yeah, I have fiddled around with the code of Final Fantasy VI a bit, and it is definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I took an assembly class in college, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. I've dabbled a little bit with it. I've never tried Super Nintendo, but just from hearing some of the developers of this and some other things talk, it sounds like this was maybe hastily put together to be nice about it.
And we're having some more crossing each other's paths. Brianna is now going to that Mount Zozo check and getting a little bit trolled. Oh, the walk of shame there when you go in and find you don't have the 1000 GP that you need to buy the Rust Rid. She's gonna have to take some battles here to get the money she needs.
What does this look like from the Rust Red guy's perspective? Hey, give me 1,000 gold. Well, I don't have it. Hold on, let me mug it off of these Ceratops real quick. Hey, here. Poor Ceratops, just minding their own business, trying to do some shopping in the city. Yeah, so one thing I've learned a lot about Final Fantasy VI. I always thought I knew everything about Final Fantasy VI before Worlds Collide, but one thing I really didn't know is that if you go up into the left here where Brianna is, there's a whole other screen with like a treasure chest and some shops that don't do anything. I never knew about that. That having a new screen in the game blew my mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of little nooks and crannies in this game that a lot of people miss. There's a lot of hidden treasure chests at locations that are just off screen and you can't see what's there. Oh, and Mumuni is immediately following that Setcher check to search the skies, and he found Kefka. This is usually a pretty quick fight. Even with scaling, he doesn't tend to have too many hit points.
Yeah, shouldn't be too much of a threat.
Yep, and she finished him off pretty much before we finished talking about how easy he was. And another piece of magicite there. So Mooney is very close to go mode now. He actually can hit the character check as long as he goes to the Coliseum Inn, because we already know that Umaro is sitting there, and it looks like that's where he's headed right now. And then he's only going to need one more piece of magicite.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the tracker that we have here, thanks to Ceiling Cat, and I'm not seeing any kind of calmness mitigation for the final Kefka battle.
Yeah, that is definitely a big issue that you got to worry about. We also see Brianna taking on a dragon battle. Might just be hoping to grind up some levels here. And it looks like Mumuni is heading up for that Tritok battle, which, even though he didn't pick up that Mog, when all you need is one more piece of magicite, the Tritok battle is a good one to check out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, I've been in this situation before, and it is very soul-crushing when he drops an item.
Yes, indeed.
I'm not trying to curse Mumuni. I have nothing against Mumuni.
What will really be a kick in the pants is if he goes up there, finds an item, and then, who knows what's going on with Umaro right now. That the incentive of being able to do those two checks back to back really can make a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the other hand, the Umaro check does have the possibility of being a character, so worst case scenario, that could open up some more checks, though you're certainly hoping to finish things off now rather than open up more rabbit holes.
And he runs into the three jerks. This fight is always annoying no matter what level you are, no matter what. Now he's got Illumina, took care of the top guy, which is always what you want to do, but man, somehow this one gets me every time.
Yeah, between the petrification, that there's not a whole lot of ways to mitigate. There's a few different relics you can equip. I believe Ribbon, Safety Bit, Memento Ring, Jewel Ring. But if you don't have any of those, getting one of your characters turned to stone can definitely be a big issue. And
Yeah, this is especially bad in Kefka's Tower when your party's split. You might have two people in there, one of which isn't very powerful.
yeah.
This is about the best situation to find these guys in.
Oh, and we see mega elixirs for sale for 40,000. That's in Tizen in the World of Ruin. That might be worth picking up a few before you head into Kefka's Tower. Though Naku was pointing out in chat that this late in the seed, still checking all the shops could definitely slow you down a bit. And it looks like Mumuni has picked up his 10th piece of Magicite, and that will put him in go mode.
Yep, and it's Bahamut. We don't usually see a lot of people using the offensive espers for their offense, but if you're going to use one, Bahamut's a pretty good one to have.
Yeah, if you've got somebody with decent magic power, especially in the uh, tiers leading up to Kefka's Tower, that can be a pretty nice chunk of damage.
Yep, looks like Brianna's not going to be looking for the pugs anymore, and I'll be curious to see if she goes back and tries to get that offering or not.
And Mumuni talking to the bird on Sid's island. Not really sure.
I think he said in Discord, I want to say they have an agreement that before they go into Kefka's Tower, they're going to go talk to the bird, or at least he has an agreement with himself that he hoped Brianna saw. They made a pact. Okay.
Yeah, you don't really see enough love for Sid's Island because there's no reason to go there normally. And I would really love it if there was something there to just, bring it back into the game a little bit.
Well, yeah, I know there's been talk. People make suggestions about things like, hey, maybe move all the dragons so they're not locked behind characters. I always thought Sid's Island would be a good place to put a dragon since it would be accessible to everybody. What I would not want to do is have to do the fishing mini game. I hate the fishing mini game with a burning passion.
Yeah, I know in speedruns of the vanilla game, pro bass fishing, as they call it, is an interesting thing to go through. But we do have Mumuni entering Kefka's Tower at 1 hour 10 minutes. That is a really good pace.
Yeah, that absolutely is. So, Brianna a little bit behind on the Esper count, but should be able to make that up pretty quickly.
Yeah, she is heading up through Narsh right now. Now we know this will get her at least one piece of Magicite, but since Mumuni didn't need to go check the Umaro cave, we'll have to see if Brianna finds anything valuable down there. Though she definitely has a lot of time to make up for if she wants to make it in the Kefka's Tower.
Yeah, Mumuni taking some time to loot here. I don't know how much looting I would do. Usually I feel like if I'm looting in Kefka's Tower, then maybe I shouldn't have been in Kefka's Tower in the first place, but it's hard to pass up treasure chests. We're so conditioned to do it. And every chest you don't check has an Illumina or something in it, so...
Yeah, sometimes the chests that are very close by, I see some people checking. I do that myself, even if you really want to get a couple more X potions or elixirs. I didn't notice this before, but Cyan does have the shock ability. If you get him leveled up enough, that can be some really nice AoE damage.
Yeah, definitely. I might think about putting him in the main party. It's going to find a lot of stuff and putting that +2 magic power Esper on him. And if nothing else, he might make for a nice 5th character in case somebody wipes.
Yep. And Mumuni is about to hit the first boss battle of Kefka's Tower at the Inferno spot. So we'll see. Um, we still do have a couple of rude possibilities. He lucks out and just get Ultros, but I don't believe we've seen Goddess yet. We saw the other two statues.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen Goddess. I don't think we've seen Doomgaze. I don't think we've seen Inferno. Yeah, but Ultros and Chupon shouldn't be a big deal.
Especially when Shadow's hitting for 6,000 without Illumina.
And Gogo is earning himself a participation award. He was there in the battle.
Alright, and Breana has reached the Umaro check. So fingers crossed, I'm sure she is hoping for a piece of Magicite here.
Yeah, one of the nice things I like about version 0.9 is it added the ability to have a pre-game, before the game starts, configure your menu. So we're seeing a lot more cool menu colors and whatnot.
Yes.
Like the one Breana has.
And she has found Magicite in the carving there, so she only needs one more. We might see her decide to go to the auction house. A lot of runners do like to leave the auction house off until the end. And if that's the last piece of Magicite that you need, maybe go roll the dice and hope to get it quick.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's first or second up, that's pretty good timing. And she got Fenrir, which is really nice. That will be her calmness mitigation.
Yes.
We'll see if that makes a difference from Moo. If he has no way of blocking that calmness and he ends up taking a double calmness, and two of his powerful characters go down, that can hurt.
And that is one of the risks that a lot of people take when you tend to settle into a main party and they end up being the only ones really getting any levels, getting any stat boosts from the Espers, and so your backup party might not be much use.
Let's see, Naku there, maybe a little bit of potential insider information about going to the auction house, and hey, looks like Naku is correct.
And that is the play I would make at this point. If you get lucky and don't run into any imp robots, this is probably the quickest piece of Magicite she'll have available. And since the man at the door can tell you if there's any glowing stones available, you know that you're not going to whiff and find something useless. At least if you, go through a couple of the other items, if you have enough money to just buy them all out so that they won't repeat. So it does look like she's a little bit low on money right now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be her problem, is trying to get up. You want to have 90,000. Oh, she's got it. You want to have 90,000. That way you can just buy everything out, and you'd be guaranteed to get everything they have. But Moo fighting Inferno, and that's never great.
Yeah, it looks like he has quick. I didn't see which Esper taught that, but that can definitely be very helpful, especially when you've only got two characters in your team. Make sure that you can get some extra damage out before the boss can react.
Yeah, definitely. Quick is great. It can feel a little bit slow, just the way that, which seems counterintuitive because it's quick, but especially when you have multiple people casting quick, it can take a little bit of time, but it's very powerful. It's one of those things I've wondered if it shouldn't be a flag like Ultima is. Ultima is a flag in Worlds Collide just because of its power, and I think quick might deserve to be in that discussion.
Yeah, that is true. I've definitely had some times that I did like quick into fixed dice with offering, and that can just absolutely tear a boss apart.
Oh yeah.
Breana did not have as good luck as Mumuni with the auction house. Just got a headband, which is a lot of money to throw around for something that you don't actually want to use. She is heading out to save, I assume, so that she can reset out of the imp robot if one pops up.
Yeah, so purchasing the theory behind purchasing all those things is you will take everything out of the potential pool except for the Magicite that you want, and then the Imp Robot. And the Imp Robot you can never win. It's just kind of a joke thing. There it is. Yeah, so reset out of that. But if you have 90,000 gold pieces in the World of Ruin auction house, you can buy them out and be guaranteed to eventually get what you're looking for. It's the fastest way to do it. That
And I
does
did
not work
see,
if you go in the world of balance.
yeah, I did see some discussion recently on the Discord about possibly trimming down the Improbot scene so it's not quite so time consuming. But we'll have to see if anything happens with that. Meanwhile, Mumuni ran into the Nook fight and looks like he had to reset out of it.
Yeah, and Chatternook's one of those things. It has a lot of hit points, and it can be a little bit frustrating because you have to wait for the demon part to appear and for the starlet part to disappear. But fortunately, we have a flag that's enabled that means there's more demon time because you want to attack the demon. If you attack starlet, it doesn't deplete the pool, and she will just counterattack. So you never want to do that. But yeah, probably get himself situated there and take another crack at this.
And meanwhile, Brianna got lucky and on her third trip to the auction house, got her final piece of Magicite, so she is also in go mode. Looks like she will probably be getting into Kefka's tower about 10 minutes after Mumuni, so she might have time to catch up if he runs into trouble dealing with some of these bosses.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely not in the bag for Mooney, and we need to see what the levels look like. But Brianna definitely got a strong possibility here.
And it can be a very big difference just based on how you set up your three parties, because sometimes you find out that you send a party to the right and you should have sent them to the left, and you end up having a hard time. Looks like she is making a quick shopping trip in Narsh. Might be going for, if this was where those flame shields were. Yep. Buying up a couple of those. That'll definitely come in handy for Merton strats. You can use ice shields or thunder shields to mitigate the damage from a Merton, but a flame shield makes it heal you, and that is definitely the best option.
Yeah, Merton strats don't really make for great TV, but they are very satisfying to do when you're playing. And Naku saying that she sold a hero ring and an earring for it. That's a gambit. Hero ring and earring are pretty good, but then again, so is the shield. So we'll see. See if it pays off for her.
And, well, she made sure to get 4 of those, so yeah, that could definitely be handy when you don't have to worry about how you're going to keep your party healed in that final battle.
Yep.
Mumuni has found Narapa, which is usually a pretty quick fight. He does not have that many hit points, so this should go down pretty quick.
Yep, just don't cast at Narapa and you'll be alright. Yep, and Moo finding out maybe one of the biggest drawbacks about Quick is that it costs 99 magic points. Oh, and Brianna goes and talks to the bird.
Yep,
So, valid seed.
I did scroll back up, and yeah, they did make an agreement for that in Discord, and it's good to see a little, friendly agreement like that between the racers. Everybody, looks at this as a friendly competition, and everybody is very, very encouraging of each other, even when it's the person you're racing against.
Yeah, absolutely. And I joined Discord just so I could join the Worlds Collide Discord. It really is a good community. It's about as positive and friendly of a community as I could imagine, Especially having grown up in the 90s on the internet. There's a lot of negativity out there on the internet, but the Worlds Collide Discord is really great. So if you're watching this and you think it'd be interesting, definitely try out Worlds Collide. And if you want to be part of the community, definitely come on to the Discord. Come hang out with us. A lot of great people, and people are so friendly, helping you out if you have questions about how to do stuff, questions about streaming, you want to argue about which Final Fantasy is the best besides 6. Everybody knows it's 6, but the second best. It's a great place.
And looks like Mumuni had to reset out of that Narapa fight. Didn't catch whether he wiped or reset, but got it pretty quick on the second try. So he is working his way through the gauntlet while Brianna is getting through the early parts of Kefka's Towers. She entered 12 minutes behind him, so she does have a good amount of time to make up. So we'll have to see whether there's any particularly rude bosses. Dullahan usually is not one.
Yeah, thank you, Naku, for reminding us. We do have a YouTube channel where you can go and watch some streams we've had before. So we've been on Randomania quite a bit, but now we've been trying to grow the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Twitch stream, as you know, since you're here. But if you're watching us on YouTube, welcome. And we've been trying to put up every race on YouTube. It can take a little bit of time. I know you need to delay 24 hours due to Twitch rules or something like that. So definitely check us out in both places if you're interested.
Especially with the Kefka Grand Prix finals are still going on, and the Coliseum tournament is really just getting started. So there's going to be a lot of good races coming up over the next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Moody taking down Dullahan, usually not too bad of a boss, but yeah, the KGP Kefka Grand Prix, we have the final battle of this season. Should be, I want to say, roughly Thursday, I think, tentatively. Thursday night next week.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's Zelfer versus Jones, I believe. So that'll be a good one. Those are two really great runners.
Brianna is fighting her Ultros and Futon fight here. Mog is throwing away the last of her money.
Yeah, GP Rain, not usually something that you're really excited to see. I know in other Final Fantasies, like Final Fantasy V, it's a lot more powerful. It's not great here, but it's the end of the world. You don't need money anymore, so why not? It's a way to do damage. It ignores defense, so not terrible.
Yeah, I see it more put to use in the early game usually, especially if you're grinding random battles and you just need an easy AoE. But yeah, Mumuni has gotten through the gauntlet and he is about to enter the final battle, so let's everybody wish him luck.
Yeah, Naku pointing out Mr. Ubik's been taking the race VODs and putting them together. Yeah, and that's another thing. We have a really great community as far as people volunteering to do stuff. Everything is completely volunteer, and like I said, just a very helpful, friendly community that really loves Worlds Collide, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, I myself have only just joined about 2 weeks ago, and everybody has been absolutely awesome. So we have Mooney on the first tier of the Kefka battle, aiming for the head first, which is a pretty common strategy. The head, when it dies, I believe, will do a quake spell, and that's not something you want to get hit with. Also broke out the X zone to take out the long arm. The long arm is one of the parts that is actually vulnerable to instant death effects.
Yeah, a lot of the bosses in Final Fantasy VI and Worlds Collide, you can kind of take them out in a number of different ways. For the final climb, final Kefka, you really want to be procedural and kind of follow a pattern here. You can do it other ways, but it can get messy and out of control really quick. And even a strong party at high level can get wiped in this climb pretty easily. So this is a time to play smart.
Yeah, putting those Fire 3 spells to good use, dishing out some pretty hefty damage there. Looks like the Phase 1 is not going to be giving Mumuni any trouble.
Breana taking on her Inferno fight with Strago in the lead. I like it.
Yeah, we didn't see too many Rude bosses throughout the gauntlet. This was probably the most difficult one. So we'll see. She should be able to get through it pretty quick. She's definitely hoping to make up some time here because she did enter the tower a little bit late. Those shopping trips did cost her a bit of time, so hopefully the Merton strategy that she's setting up helps make up some of that time later. And Mumuni has gotten past the first tier and is moving on to tier 2.
Yep, not too much trouble with the first tier, but he did lose Strago, so. But yeah, you know, I don't know if Breana, if I'm feeling behind. You and I were talking before the stream started. It used to be that 130 was, you know, that was the thing you were trying to reach. That was kind of the impossible dream. And then people started doing it. Oh, as Breana takes a wipe. But now at 130, that's getting closer and closer to kind of average time. But yeah, that's a bad wipe for Breana. And that's, you know, Inferno is nasty no matter where he's at.
Especially if you haven't saved. It looked like she did not go back and save after the Ultras fight. Not that it's a difficult fight, but this particular version of Ultros is a little bit more time consuming because you have to wait for him to bring Chupan up, and then Chupan needs to sneeze you. So it's definitely a little bit tedious to have to go through a second time.
Yeah, that's always, to me, the worst part of this tower is that first battle, you know, after you've done all the switches, because if that wipes you, you're just far back. So it looks like Mumuni has Cyan chilling out there, got frozen, always fun to see.
That is one of the most frustrating things, I think, in these tiers, because, you know, you can cast fire spells on your characters to melt that, but if you don't have protection from fire, and like I don't think he picked up any of those flame shields, then if you only have fire 3, you'd be running the risk of killing your own character, as opposed to if you have fire 1 and then you could melt them without worrying about the damage.
Yeah, and if I heard correctly, I want to say, watching a stream, somebody was talking about that being frozen, and there's one or two rages that can do it, and I don't remember what they are offhand, but virtually everything in this game is vulnerable to being frozen, including bosses and maybe even Kefka, if I understood correctly. So frozen is terrible. Fortunately, he's out of it, but tier 2 to me is really the worst. This is where your run can really go off the rails.
Yeah, there's, you know, 4 different pieces here, and they each have different ways you want to deal with them. It really comes in handy to have either Siren or a Mute spell that take care of the guy in the back there, stop all those spell casts.
You want to be really careful about the order in which you kill the front blue guy, which is called Hit, and then the back guy here called Magic. When Hit dies, he will do 10 hits, which, assuming you don't dodge them, they hit pretty hard. And Magic can do things like Quarter, which will take you down to 1/4 of your hit points. So if you do AoE here and he kills both of them at the same time, you can get quartered and then 10 hit, and then immediately you have no time to heal because you move on up to the next stage of the battle, and you can lose a character or two that way if you're unlucky.
Yeah, and the third tier, of course, the big thing is always the calmness, and I still think there was a question about how Mumuni was going to deal with that, because if I remember correctly, I don't think he picked up that Fenrir Magicite.
Oh, I don't think he has anything. I don't think he has life 3. All he has is, an Illumina and a Dream.
Brianna is up to her Chadar Nook fight. This is one that I believe Mumuni did have to reset on, so a chance for her to make up a little bit of time, though. I think if Mumuni can get through without taking a wipe, it is definitely a very tough climb for her to catch back up at this point.
So, like,
yes.
Ravlin is calling his shots, and he is guaranteeing that he will win with a level 3 Cyan and a Pearl Rod tonight. So, bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Brianna's putting those Merton strats to good use here.
Yep, and Setzer laying on the floor about the closest thing Final Fantasy VI has to the Uncle Mop from Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah, I'm sure that people are nowhere near as excited about finding a Setzer as free enterprise runners are about finding a Foo.
Yeah, I haven't done I've never really played for Enterprise. I've seen some runs of it, but I always hope for Edward.
Mumuni has gotten through tier 2, but his Go-Go is on the ground going in. So we'll have to see. That was the second character he had dropped. I'm not sure who he has as his backup right now, but
Boy.
Umaro. Oh, Umaro is not who you want to see here. We were talking earlier about you want to make sure you take Lady down before sleep here, and Umaro is not going to help you with that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you take Sleep down while she is still up, not only will he calmness you, but then she will use life 2 on him to bring him back. And then when you kill him again, he'll calmness you again. And she needs to go. She has to go. And she absorbed all elements. So you need to do non-elemental damage to her, which Mara will do. But it's only if he decides. Okay, now, this has always annoyed me here. She just did calmness, but it's like calmness light. It's just, oh, hey, go to sleep. That's not the calmness we're talking about.
Yeah, well, that's when we can blame Ted Woolsey for not putting more variation to the names here. And meanwhile, Mumuni ran into the bane of the Illumina sword, hitting Lady with it, and then having the Pearl proc heal her for quad 9s.
I've been in a situation where I had Gao use Cat Scratch with 2 Illuminas. So tremendous amount of Pearl damage, and he just went ham on her, healing her up constantly. I had to kill him, revive my party back up, and scrap my way out of it. Yeah, you definitely want on her.
The other problem with Lady is she does not have much hit points compared to a lot of the other parts of the final battle, but she does like to use Pearl Wind to heal herself. And so if she gets those Pearl Winds off fast enough, you really need to make sure you get her down fast before she keeps healing herself up.
Like, Brianna took care of Narapa pretty easily, so. Another fake calmness on Umaro. Well, if someone's going to get calmness, I guess Umaro's probably the best one there.
Yeah, this is, tier 2 in many ways is the most complicated one with how many different enemies, and you need to handle each piece differently, but tier 3 is really the one where you gotta worry about taking a wipe.
Yeah, so he wants to be really careful here because Sleep is not in Meteo mode. There's a point at which he's going to start going ham on Meteo and Train, which will silence and blind his party. You want to make sure you don't get him into that mode, especially while she's still up. If she starts healing him and he's doing that,
Yeah, and those condemned spells are definitely causing some problems. Mooney's having a bit of a hard time keeping his characters up, and we do see those meteors starting to come out. Thankfully, for science sake, he managed to dodge it.
And there's a school of thought, and I'm kind of in it. Heal him up and get yourself situated, and then go ham on him. Once she's down, get him up to where he's not meteoing you, recover, and then just knock him out really quick. Looks like Briana's going after Inferno again. Breaking Ice Shield on him. Should do a ton of damage.
We have that train coming out that's not only very rough on this phase, but if you get silenced and you can't cast your healing spells, and that you won't want that to persist when you get up to the final phase.
Oh, definitely, because that will follow you, and that's why that's the one thing that the Unicorn Esper is great for. Oh no!
Oh, yeah, this is not. Oh.
Okay, well.
Oh my goodness!
So
that's 3 characters down. Does he even have another backup?
I don't know, and what I would worry about, for him is this lulling him into a false sense of security that he should continue when maybe he should just reset.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Shadow might have been the one equipping that Illumina, but he cannot solo Kefka with that. And he got Setzer. Setzer did come in pretty late in the seed, so I don't know if Mooney really had a chance to teach him many good spells or anything.
But like Kat says, if he resets now, he'd have a slight edge. But in the back of his mind, he's got to be wondering, is Briana, right next to me, right, same place? This is going to be spicy, that's for sure.
Especially when Kefka starts dishing out the counterattacks. He can, wipe a character in one hit, and you really want to have enough backup people to throw those heals out.
Yeah, another thing you and I were talking about before this started is we wanted an interesting end to the match. We're getting it.
Yes. And they can say that I threw out the commentator's curse, and I will gladly own up to it, because this is what I love to see.
Yeah, maybe we just don't talk to Moo or Briana for a day or two and let him calm down, and then mention that.
Oh, and Setzer goes down. Now Shadow is hitting for 6,000 or 7,000 per hit with that Illumina. So, and 99.99 on that proc. So Shadow is dishing out the damage. It's just a question of whether he can get through it.
I mean, this Goner's probably not going to kill him, but there's only one person, so... Okay. Now the question is, going to take a hyperdrive to the face. And Briana gets past Dullahan.
He's breaking out that quick, and blocks the Havoc Wing. Blocks 2 Havoc Wings in a row. Oh my goodness. That would have ended him right there, but he managed to do the double parry. Getting
we need runners for Harvey.
Yeah, focusing on healing now. He's at least halfway through Kefka's hit points at this point, but definitely still needs some
intercept.
Damage.
Wow.
Yeah, that quick spell is keeping him alive, but he's running into that problem of those limited magic points. Uh, Using up, I think that was his last elixir. A couple more hits from that Illumina, if he gets the Pro Proc, could do it. It's a question
All
of
right, now
whether he.
pile it on now. He can't counter while he's charging for Goner. Just, yeah, quick and slice him up.
Yeah. A couple of swings and maybe a Pro Proc. Throwing out the Fire Rod.
All
Getting the
right.
quad nines there. And we got the flash. He managed to pull it off.
GG. Moo
That
Mooney looks like
that was one of the most intense Kefka fights I think I've ever seen. Uh, that was extremely well done. You know, we were saying a minute ago about whether he should reset out, and he took the gamble and it paid off.
And that, folks, is why you should join our community and play Final Fantasy Worlds Collide and keep watching these streams, because you get quality entertainment like that. So it looks like he has a final time of 1:44:17, so he is going to move on. Not over for Breana, though. She will move into the returners bracket, so she has a chance to fight her way back in and win the whole thing.
This has definitely been an excellent race. That was definitely a very tense final battle. We'll have to see if Mumuni wants to come in and give us his thoughts on that.
Yeah, so Breana looks like she's on tier 1 here. Hopefully for her sake, she has an easier fight, but darn if that wasn't entertaining to watch anyway.
Yeah, she does have those Merton strats, so healing will be a little bit easier. Mooney, the biggest struggle on his way up did seem to be he was having trouble keeping his characters up, and that led to Shadow being the only one to survive tier 3. So the Merton strats can definitely help that, where you don't need to go back and forth between healing and attacking. You just keep dishing out the hurt. She just got through phase 1 really quickly.
Yeah, really. So Merton is going to be great for her up until you get to tier 3. Then you're going to have to fight Lady, and Merton will heal her, so you definitely don't want to do it there, but should make pretty quick work of this second tier. Just got to watch out for killing hit and magic at the same time.
Yeah. And Mooney is telling us in Discord that he can't do an interview right now, but definitely everyone, send out your GGs for him, because that was an amazing fight. And make sure to give him a follow too, because you definitely don't want to miss out on that kind of action.
Yep. So there's the way to follow our racers. Definitely give both of them a follow. There's for our staff. Again, don't follow me, but everybody else plays quite a bit of Worlds Collide. So definitely get in there and give everybody a follow. And thanks to Ceiling Cat for doing tracking. Again, something that I would be completely unable to do. And Ashrin for doing restreaming, which I think my internet maybe might let me do at some point, but we'll see.
Yeah, especially because we did have some last minute issues setting everything up, and Ash stepped in at the last minute to help us out here, so definitely want to make sure we send some love their way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely appreciate that. I will say this, Moo, if you're listening, you definitely need to buy Shadow a pizza.
You need to buy him a beer.
Pizza and beer. Like a lot of, like good beer. Don't cheap out. And good pizza, too. Don't use a coupon. He'll know.
Looks like Breana is breezing through phase 2, dishing out some really hefty damage here. Did have the mute spell, so she managed to mute magic in the back there. That's always a good play. And Cyan, usually, in the vanilla game, he is the lowest magic power of anybody, but he is dishing out 5,000 damage per Murton, so doing some serious work.
Yeah, they have one nice thing they've done is they've really balanced a lot of the characters out. In the original game, Cyan is cool. I like his backstory. He's a cool character. Not very strong magic, obviously, and his sword tech is horrible. But unfortunately, they've sped up sword tech quite a bit. And with the ability to have distorted stats and random abilities and whatnot, it's really meant that any character can be your best character.
And it's always interesting when you see, characters like Strago getting some of the really high physical abilities, or I love to see sword tech on Realm really, let that murder child shine. It's a pity that we didn't see her this season.
Oh yeah, you love seeing an 8-year-old kid with a katana for sure. But yeah, we didn't have no Realm, no Terra, no Celeste, right?
Well, you got me here. There's a Terror.
We got you. Okay, yeah, that's true.
And
Uh,
Brianna has gotten through that phase 2 on the phase 3. Hopefully, Lady doesn't give her too much trouble.
yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of debate about it. I think the ladies of Final Fantasy VI are the best characters. You're always happy to see one of those three.
Oh, absolutely. Especially since, even without the stat distortion, Terra and Celeste are both pretty well set to go either physical or magical, depending on what kind of equipment and spells you find. So, very versatile characters. Hitting some really good damage on that flare spell on Brianna. Um, Getting here with anything non-elemental is always a very good relief. I don't think she's going to have any real trouble here.
No, no, this should go pretty smoothly, especially since she has Fenrir.
Look at her, she has already taken down Lady, is breaking out those Murtons.
Ooh, that W wind.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the more difficult things to deal with. It hits everybody for drops them straight down the critical hit points. About the only thing worse is Kefka's Fallen One.
Yep, Katoizik trying to viewer curse Brianna here. But yeah, I tend to agree. I don't think she's going to have nearly the trouble.
Yeah, the Murton strats are definitely paying off because at this point on Movie Stream, he had characters going down and struggling to get them back up and having to go back and forth between offense and healing. And the Murton strats are really helping out with that. She is definitely breezing through this third tier.
The sunglasses when you're blinded never really line up, but on Shadow they just look ridiculous. Like it's a really easy to see where the sunglasses should be, and they're not there.
Yeah, it looks especially bad on Realm, where she's basically wearing them as a headband. We got the Calmness coming out, and looks like she did not get that Fenrir up, but luckily only got the single Calmness on Shadow. So going into the final battle with a much stronger team. I don't believe she ever found the Illuminas. So, Shadow swinging those Illuminas for 7,000 damage isn't going to happen here, but the Murton strats will probably help quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's always the way it is. Every chest you don't check or store you don't check has exactly what you want in it. So.
Alright, here we go. Final phase starting up. Queuing up the Murtons to be ready for when that Fallen One hits. Go-Go, of course, since he was not one of the characters probably set up for it, is not getting healed by the fire. And he is mimicking the Murton, even though it means his death. But he got everybody else back up on their feet, so, he served his purpose.
Yeah, can we get some cheers for Go-Go? I mean, making the sacrifice, right? Taking one for the team.
And she is just chaining those Murtons. Going really well. Got the Mega Elixir to get the magic points refilled. One of the things with Murton strats is you really gotta watch your MP. Looks like she's pacing this really well, holding off and not having every character go back to back so she can see whether she needs to break out some healing there. So that's really good. You don't always want to just go hit against Kefka. Sometimes holding a character's turn can really make a difference, and she's doing very well there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's another one of those fights where he has different hit point thresholds for different actions, and you need to make sure that you're not putting him into a really dangerous situation that you're not prepared for, but she's doing it really well. But now, go ham.
Yeah, that's another thing I only just learned in the past week. When I was a kid, all I did was just keep throwing everything I had at him. I did not realize back then that he would hit these counterattack phases, and that's very good knowledge to have. That's one of the things that really makes a difference in being able to manage this final battle.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was a kid, I would usually wait until I was level 90 something to come into Kefka's Tower, so I would just offering Genji Glove, Illumina Ragnarok, and usually kill him in one hit. So I didn't even know about Goner as a kid until I started watching Worlds Collide.
Yeah, she's definitely having a much easier fight here, keeping her characters healed up without any trouble at all. I think she's going to breeze through this pretty quick. Strago goes down to a Havoc Wing, but she's got the Life Tunes. Life 2 is always an absolute godsend to find here. With randomized Magicites, sometimes you get here and all you have is Phoenix Downs. And
oh yeah, you always breathe a sigh of relief when you see Life 2. Alright, that'll do it.
Alright. Let's get some GGs for Breana. That was an excellent fight. She definitely had the setup, like, she planned this out. She saw those flame shields early on, knew what she needed to do, and it really paid off with the way she breezed through those final tiers.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like she finished with a time of 1:56:38, so definitely GG's.
Yes, excellently done. What she needed to do, and it really paid off with the way she breezed through those final
see
tiers.
if Breana's down to do an interview. Yeah, absolutely. Looks like she finished with a time of 1:56:38, so definitely GG. But yeah, so that
excellently done.
That was an excellent fight there. We got to see really, like I say, one of the crazier Kefka battles there. Mu providing a lot of entertainment, getting his win, but like we said, it's not over for Breana. She's going to have a chance to make it up in the returners bracket. So.
And this is just the beginning of the Coliseum. We still have quite a way to go. A lot of really good races to come up. Definitely a lot to look forward to. So hopefully everybody will come join us in Discord. Stick around to
that was an excellent fight
so
there. We got to see really
when some more of these
one of the
races are coming
crazier
up.
Kefka battles there. Mu providing a lot of entertainment, getting his win, but like we said, it's not over for Brianna. She's going to have a chance looks to like make it Brianna is going to be open to some bracket. Twitch chat responses there. So
And this is just the
first of all, GG
beginning of
Brianna.
the
You know,
Coliseum.
good
You know,
game
we
there.
still
It
have
was definitely an
quite
exciting
a
scene to
way to
watch.
go. A lot of really good
You were the only
races to come
person
up.
that found
Definitely a lot
calmness
to look forward
mitigation
to.
in the
So
form of
hopefully
Fenrir.
everybody will
But I'm
enjoy it.
curious, it didn't look like you used it on the last tier there. Was there a reason for that? Or
Oh, she said she didn't have it equipped.
oh, yeah.
But luckily, she did manage to get through it with only one character dropping to the calmness, so it didn't end up hurting her that much. But yeah, that calmness protection is definitely one of the big questions that you run into when you get to the final phase.
Yeah, definitely. So, only the real question I would have for you, Brianna, is what do you think about the format that we have here? Do you like this Coliseum tournament, the bracket idea? Is it something you'd be looking forward to participating in the future?
Yep, she's definitely right there saying this is definitely a lot of fun. You know, there's still some tweaking in the flag sets that go on week after week, trying to find that perfect balance to make a good race. But I think this was definitely a really good flag set. Um, definitely left both runners with a lot of different options for where to go, which characters to find, and they ended up coming into the final battle with very different party builds. And that's always really fun to see. That's one of the things I think makes for a really good flag set.
Yeah, Brianna says excited to get under 2 hours. One day I'll get there. I don't know when it will be, but one day I will do a sub 2 hour. Maybe if I do like a 300, I can get one.
So it looks like that's going to about wrap us up. Now, everybody that's here tonight, if you want to stick around, we are doing a double header tonight. There's another race at 10 o'clock tonight. Um, I don't have the brackets up right now to say who it is that's in our second race.
It is definitely someone. I don't know. I'm doing comms on it, so I should probably know, but I don't know.
So
Grimwolf
maybe,
versus Rattler. That's right. There we go.
okay, yep. Well, Ravlin did promise that, he would be, what was it, the level 3 up in that final Kefka battle. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Moo Mooney put on an absolute amazing final fight. So Ravlin's gonna, definitely have some big shoes to fill there. But yeah, hopefully everyone will stick around for that second race that's coming up, and hopefully everyone will, subscribe and join the Discord because there's a lot more races coming up over the next few weeks. A lot of really exciting stuff to come. And once again, please make sure to follow not just our runners, but also our restream team, the ones doing the real work, Ashirin and Ceiling Cat. And
But
make
yeah,
sure
thanks to both of them. Doing a great job there. Like I said, especially tracking, I could not do.
to follow Who Dat just out of spite.
Absolutely. See, my plan's working. Once I figure out the what game it is I'm good at enough to stream, then I'll have a huge following. So,
You're just using some reverse psychology on them there, right?
oh, absolutely.
All right, so I think that about wraps everything up. Who Dat, do you have any final thoughts?
Just want to say thank you to everybody for watching us. Thank you to our racers for a really great race, and thank you, my friend, for co-coms. It's been a blast.
I definitely had a really good time, and I'm glad everybody put up with the really bad jokes.
Yeah.
All right, so we will see you all next time, and thank you all so much for watching.
Thank you.